Loser! You're a loser! Are you feeling sorry for yourself? Well, you should be, because you are dirt! You make me sick, you big baby! Baby want a bottle? A big dirt bottle?
Hey. This story just keeps getting better. This series has found a way to keep me completely immersed, and throughout my time running through these DLCs, I find myself constantly theorizing on what could possibly happen next, only for the actual events to be miles away from my predictions. Witnessing this version of Few has been fresh. Peeking into those what-if timelines is the core of why so many people gravitate towards this series in the first place. Now that the scenarios are getting even wackier, I'm finding myself more invested than ever. But the question remains, why is Few actually doing this? We're jumping into the next batch of DLC today to hopefully get a better understanding of what his real endgame is. Today, we're breaking down the Legendary Pack story, engaging if this actually manages to live up to that title. So sit back, pop open that energy drink, and kick your feet up, as we jump into Xenoverse 2's wackiest story yet. Klonoa summons us to handle yet another history distortion triggered by Few, who has opened a fresh time rift to siphon more energy. While the Supreme Kai of Time and Elder Kai explain the situation, we notice Few casually wandering around the Time Vault. The Kais are completely oblivious to his presence because he's masking himself, making it look like we're just spacing out while they talk to us. We still don't have a clear answer as to why we can see him when they can't, but it doesn't seem to be a timeline origin thing, especially since our mentors, who are also from different points in time, couldn't detect him in the last DLC either. Since this is just a time rift, we aren't worried about these changes bleeding into the official history, but Klonoa points out that any alterations still feed Few more energy. She's worried he might use that power for something nefarious, given his family tree. Feels like she's already starting to walk back her wait and see approach from the previous story. Klonoa explains that Future Trunks is tied up on another assignment, but they plan to send him as soon as he's clear. Few covertly eavesdrops on her thoughts, giving a casual shrug when she accuses him of potentially misusing the energy he's harvesting. The patroller decides to stay quiet about his presence, probably a smart move to avoid a panic conflict right there in the time nest. After the debriefing, we follow him into the new rift.
You are not going to survive this!
None of your moves will work on me.
What?
Now then, who should be my next subject? I choose you! Kanton City made for some intriguing experimentation. Let's try some more.
What? How?
Because of the head start, Few beats us to the Null Realm during the Tournament of Power. He steps in right as the Evolution Blue Vegeta is mid-final explosion against Toppo. I know the dub calls him Top, but the name has always felt a bit ridiculous, so I'm just sticking with Toppo. Luckily, Super Saiyan Blue Goku and our patroller arrive just in time to keep the prince from being tossed out the arena. The Omni Kings immediately question the intrusion, nearly erasing the patroller on the spot for interfering with the tournament. To save Universe 7 from a premature end, Klonoa and Elder Kai have to scramble, feeding Zeno a lie about the patroller being summoned through one of Goku's abilities. Fortunately, the Omni Kings buy the story and allow the fight to continue. It's a bit strange though that they are unaware who Klonoa is. The gods of destruction, the angels, and the various Supreme Kais are well aware of the Time Patrol's existence, so it's a bit jarring that the beings at the very top of the hierarchy seem completely oblivious to them. Few isn't finished with his toys just yet. He still has 2 Demon Realm crystals left and decides to burn the second one on Vegeta. Even when the prince's legendary willpower, the supervillainization eventually takes hold. He begins acting with that same cold malice we saw in the Majin Buu arc, but this time it's much worse. The brainwashing is so deep, he actually rejects the concept of his Saiyan pride. Future Trunks arrives just in time to witness the downward spiral. When this version of Vegeta screams that he's beyond petty attachments and denounces his pride, Trunks is the first to push back. He knows his father is a proud Saiyan warrior who would never utter those words willingly, recognizing the manipulation for what it is. While the chaos unfolds, the Kais are left wondering why the Omni Kings haven't erased Few for his blatant interference. The answer is very on brand for the Zenos. Few simply lied and told them he was Dispo's replacements. Even though they knew he was lying, they were so intrigued by his audacity that they let him stay. Few effectively joins Team Universe 11, rooting for their victory since a history-altering win for Jiren's team would provide a massive harvest of energy.
Father! If you think I'm that easy to control, then you're dumber than you look!
I'll help you fight him.
Get back, Trunks! He's mine! Only a loser abandons his pride. You've made a grave mistake giving me all of this energy. I won't lose to someone who's thrown away his principles. I'll do whatever it takes to stop you!
Okay!
This is what it means to have pride!
Vegeta's victory ends up being somewhat moot, as Jiren immediately follows up by eliminating him with a full power energy wave. With the prince out of the picture, Konoha and Elder Kai task future Trunks and the Patroller with a new priority: keep Fu from sabotaging Goku's final clash with Jiren. The two manage to hold him at bay for a while, but the situation takes a turn for the surreal when the Kais detect a second time rift forming inside the null realm, effectively a rift within a rift. Fu takes the opening to bail into this new anomaly, forcing us and Trunks to give chase. This leaves Goku and the rest of Xenoverse 7 to finish things with Jiren, which works out since Fu effectively forfeited his spot on Team Xenoverse 11 by leaving the arena. One thing that still feels off here is the lack of reaction from the rest of the cast. Future Trunks is standing right there, yet not a single person outside of Vegeta who does not question his future son's appearance here mentions his presence. You'd think Gohan or Frieza, who are both still active in the tournament at this time, would have at least some kind of confused response to him. One of those moments where the game's logic doesn't quite make sense. The time rift dumps Fu straight into hell, where he and an anomalous future Janemba are being confronted by future Pikkon. Just like his counterpart in the main timeline, this version of Janemba has completely warped reality around him. Trunks and the Patroller arrive just in time to provide Pikkon with some much needed backup, though they initially mistake the situation for the events of Fusion Reborn. Fu doesn't waste any time burning his third and final Demon Realm crystal to grant Janemba supervillainization. Now, not only does this massively buff the demon, but the crystal enhances his mystic copy ability, allowing him to churn out an entire army of supervillain empowered clones. At this point, we really do find ourselves fighting this guy a lot, don't we? The sheer weight of numbers eventually starts to overwhelm the group, but they receive an assist from an old ally.
Hey, someone's coming. This power, could it be Goku's?
Hey, keep your head in the fight. They went that way.
Go on.
Trunks, what are you doing here?
Future Gohan. This specific time rift is anchored in the timeline of the one where Gohan went to his death knowing Trunks would eventually stop the androids, separate from the one that Trunks went back to save him. His decision of saving his master has now created a ton of time rift alternate realities. What's interesting here is that Trunks actually confuses Gohan's power with Goku's. I don't believe that Gohan was that much stronger after death that he was comparable to Fusion Reborn era Goku, so it very much could just be a resonance of familiar energy signatures. But then again, Trunks should know Gohan's ki better than Goku's at this point, so I'll let you guys decide on that one. Working together, the group manages to thin the herd of Janemba before future Gohan realized there must be a source generating the clones, the original supervillain Janemba. Though they manage to take him down, Janemba finds a way to revive himself once again. With this desperate surge of power, he manages to drop both future Pikkon and Trunks with a single shot. Fortunately for us, the Tournament of Power Goku uses the rift within the Null Realm to reach Hell, returning the favor after the Time Patrol helps secure the Universe 7's victory. Future Gohan is understandably stunned, trying to process his father's presence and the sheer pressure of the blue form, but Goku tells him to save the question for after they deal with Janemba and Fu.
Let's go, Gohan!
Right.
I can't tell if this game absolutely loves future Gohan or if the developers just want the fans to suffer. They give this man some of the coolest scenes in the franchise and show him more love than almost anyone else, only to rip it all away. At this point, why not just make him a permanent time patroller? This sequence was just incredible. I don't even have a profound, deep comment to make about how the bond between father and son can't be broken by time and space, it's just cold. As the battle peaks, the Patroller and Trunks chase after Fu once more, leaving the fate of their allies unclear as hell begins to vanish. The timeline of the rift is being converted into raw energy, effectively erasing the space around them. Suddenly, the Patroller and Trunks find themselves back in the time vault with absolutely no memory of what happened after they followed Fu into the void. With no leads left to follow, the only option is to wait for Fu's next move. But luckily for us, we won't be waiting long.
So... the image coming in clear? Alright, seems to be working. Hey there! My name's Fu. You've all been a huge help in my experiments. And now it's time to finally show off my findings! I can't tell you how excited I am! Not really sure how you time patrollers react to all of this. But I'm sure the results will blow everyone away. So whatever you do, stay tuned! Okay, it's about time to... Huh? Hey, it looks like we've got a guest. He's gonna want to see this too.
That's far enough, Fu.
No, it's not. I'm only just getting started. We're talking about history like no one's ever seen.
Fusion! Ha!
Krinoa finds herself dwelling on Fu's parting words, while Trunks starts piecing his memories back together, aided by that video footage. He's visibly stumped by this version of Goku and Vegeta fusing. He can't find a single timeline in his records that matches that specific version of Gogeta, as his only points of reference are the Fusion Reborn and GT iterations. Krinoa admits that reaching the specific distortion will be difficult, but she decides to wait it out, confident that a path will eventually materialize simply because Fu is involved. Before long, that new time rift tears right open inside the time vault. Once the patrol is ready, we head in to inform Krinoa. She's instantly convinced that this is Fu's handiwork, though Trunks actually questions why she's so certain. It's a bit of a weird moment for Trunks. Knowing Fu is currently out there causing chaos, who else would he expect this to be? Under normal circumstances, she'd send Trunks as backup, but she needs him to stay behind and help manage the time vault since Elder Kai is apparently busy. She sends the patroller in solo with a final warning to watch out for Fu, though Trunks once again reminds her they don't actually have confirmation of his involvement. They really could have sent Ace in for backup here. We haven't seen the legendary hero doing much of anything since that early DLC pack.
So that's Gogeta and Broly in this timeline, huh? Both of them are overflowing with power. Maybe I should say the three of them, right? I mean, since Gogeta is actually Goku and Vegeta fused. Well, at any rate, this is great! But I didn't come here just to watch them beat each other up. All right, time to begin my little experiment.
Huh? Hey, you! Get the hell out of here! It's not safe!
Sorry, Gogeta, but I'm gonna have to lock up some of your power, okay? Tag, you're it!
Hmm? What the?
Okay, now let's see how changing this variable affects this timeline. Ooh, I can't wait!
This DLC has continued to deliver some incredible cutscenes, and they really went all out to hype up this specific encounter. Krinoa is quick to take a victory lap for suspecting Fu the moment his presence is confirmed. Trunks, still playing catch-up, admits he doesn't recognize this timeline at all. We've landed in the aftermath of the Tournament of Power, where Goku and Vegeta encounter a long-lost Saiyan survivor. Broly is an absolute force of nature here. While Gogeta seems to think the patrol are strong enough to hold their own, which at this point we should be, Krinoa is panicking. She points out that Broly is currently trading blows with Blue Gogeta and wonders how we're supposed to fix a timeline this chaotic on our own. Xenoverse 2's gameplay actually does a fantastic job of making Broly feel like a genuine demon, a true freak.
The devil!
Oh my god, he's so goddamn
Cool!
A level of threat that game doesn't always manage to capture. Few just laughs the whole thing off. He explains that changing history the same way every time would be totally boring, which is why he swapped his tactics here. Instead of his usual move of empowering the villain, he decides to handicap Gogeta instead, even having the audacity to tell the Time Patrol you're welcome. However, Few quickly notices that we and Gogeta are struggling a bit too early for his taste. Realizing Broly might actually win too fast and ruin the show, he decides to even the playing field. He summons Super Saiyan 2 Khalifa and Kale. Now this is the best kind of fan service. Bringing in characters that fans have been theorizing about since the movie first dropped is easily some of the most entertaining writing this team has done. Always looking for a challenge, Few easily convinces Khalifa to jump in and scrap with Kale following her lead as usual. Even though this technically evens the odds, Cronoa is still livid. From her perspective, Few is just piling one history distortion on top of another by dragging Universe 6's strongest Saiyans into the Broly conflict. As the Patroller and our new allies start making some progress, the battle intensifies, but Few starts looking bored. He isn't seeing the massive energy spike he calculated, assuming he must have botched the math somewhere. However, Khalifa and Kale realize it's time to kick things into overdrive. They decide it's time to show the meathead Broly what happens when they actually get serious. Few's boredom evaporates the moment the two Saiyans fuse into Kefla. Not one to be outdone by another fusion, Gogeta launches a massive Soul Punisher to end the fight then and there. Unfortunately, the strain is too much and Gogeta's fusion timer expires immediately after, much to Few's disappointment. With Gogeta gone, Broly seizes this opening and fires a massive beam that KOs Goku, Vegeta, and Kefla in one shot, leaving only the Patroller standing. Cronoa is in full panic mode. The situation is dire, especially since they were so close to a win. Few, meanwhile, is mesmerized by Broly's raw output. While his main goal was energy, he realizes he stumbled onto some incredible research data, and decides he needs a sample of Broly's blood. He tries to sneak in for the collection, but Broly is too far gone. He ignores Few's attempts to redirect him and lands a massive blow that draws some blood from the scientist. Now, Few likes to pour his soul into his research, but he isn't willing to sacrifice his life for it. With no other cards to play, he opens a wormhole to summon the strongest mortal from Universe 11, his former teammate from the Altered Tournament of Power, Jiren. Accepting the gravity of the situation, Cronoa is forced to admit that Jiren is their only real hope, with Goku, Vegeta, and Kefla all out of commission. That doesn't mean she's letting Few off the hook though. She demands he help clean up his own mess by ensuring that Broly actually stays down. Eventually Goku recovers and is floored to see Jiren standing there, having been unconscious when the wormhole first opened. Jiren doesn't have time for the confusion, he just tells Goku to save the questions for later as Broly charges at them. It's an interesting moment where Jiren even wonders why Broly is prioritizing Goku over him, while Goku's just frustrated that all these strong power levels are around and he can't tap into his full power to join them. Wanting to return the favor that Universe 7 paid him during the tournament, Jiren decides to unleash his full strength, and charges right at the legendary Super Saiyan in a direct clash. The scale of this fight has gone way beyond anything Cronoa could have imagined. Trunks even compares the collision between the two as if they're watching two gods of destruction trade blows. During this, Cronoa takes some time to compliment our Patroller, noting how hard it is to believe a Time Patroller can actually keep up with a monster of this caliber. She even picks on Trunks a bit, pointing out that one of their trainees has finally surpassed him. Trunks just laughs this off, suggesting he'll have to ask us for a sparring match later on so he doesn't fall too far behind. But it's a bit late for that, isn't it? Not only did Ace one-up him back in the first game, but we've been operating on a completely different level ever since we started training with Beerus and Whis in the base game.
This will end you!
Looks like my calculations were off by just a smidgen or so. But this alone will net me some serious energy. All's well that ends well, or so they say. Okay. With this amount of energy...
We get called right back to the time nest as another massive anomaly surfaces. This time Few has completely gone back on his word. Instead of messing around with minor parallel realities, he's gone straight into the Book of Beginnings, granting a power up to Bardock right during his final confrontation with Frieza. We are sent out with the utmost urgency. Right after we depart, Trunks asks if he should head out for ground support since the stakes are so high. Cronoa shoots the idea down at first, but you can tell she's already starting to second guess that decision. When we arrive in the space above planet Vegeta, Bardock is making incredibly quick work of the Frieza Force, inching far closer to Frieza's ship than history should ever allow. Just as the Patroller steps in to support the grunts and balance things out, a familiar figure sweeps in to save Bardock from the growing pressure. With the situation falling completely off the rails, Cronoa realizes she has no other choice but to reconsider sending Trunks out into the field. Annoyed that a mere Saiyan is getting this close to him, Frieza steps out of his spaceship and prepares a supernova to wipe out planet Vegeta once and for all. But just as the attack begins to charge, Few intervenes and drops Bardock directly into a time rift.
So it was you all along, wasn't it, Few?
Trunks! This event's in the book of the beginning and end. That means you're not supposed to be here, right?
I'm aware of the rule against getting involved in events occurring in one's own timeline. The Supreme Kai of Time made that rule to prevent someone else from making a mistake. Like the one I'd made in the past, for example. But I'm a different person now. I'm a time patroller. It's my job to see that history plays out the way it should.
It really makes you wonder if the sheer volume of energy Few has been absorbing is starting to twist his mind a bit. He feels significantly more unhinged here than he did when we first met him, even if he hasn't completely lost it yet. His desire to help people is still there, which is why he tries to save Bardock from his fated death, but his perspective seems clouded. It leads to a hypocritical moment where he actually scolds future Trunks for showing up in the Book of Beginnings, completely ignoring the fact that he's the one who broke the rule first. This DLC actually features two separate endings, and one of them only triggers if you happen to lose the fight against the duo of Bardock and Few. What it gives us is another massive piece of fan service for Bardock fans, one that's so well done it almost makes you want to leave it alone, though of course altering this one definitive event would completely undo the entire franchise we know and love. If we hold our own against Few and Bardock, the story takes a fascinating turn. Frieza actually has second thoughts about wiping out the Saiyans purely because he sees how hard the Patroller is willing to fight on his behalf. Funnily enough, this completely triggers Trunks, who can't even fathom the idea of anyone willingly serving under the Tyrant. With this altercation prompting Few to make a wild, cynical comparison, pointing out that Frieza and Kranoa are eerily similar in how they manage their subordinates.
Damn it.
Bardock, we'll make sure we do right by you in the future. That's why...
Frieza!
Bardock! Ah! Watch out!
Out of my way! Kakarot!
Bardock!
Avenge the Saiyans! You gotta stop Frieza! Got it!
Frieza, you bastard!
Bardock's foresight ability is utilized beautifully here. Being able to see Trunks' timeline gives him a much broader understanding of the future these warriors are fighting for, making it a perfect end to his story. Not only does he learn about his son's destiny, but he also sees the Saiyan lineage live on and thrive and protect the universe. With the battle winding down, Frieza shifts his attention to Few, attempting to recruit him into his empire. But even Few has his limits, though casually turning him down because he thinks Frieza is taking things a bit too far. Also notice in the background that Frieza just blew up Planet Vegeta with one single death beam. As much as the Time Patrol and Few might want to take Frieza off the board right then and there for the lives he's taken, they have to leave the timeline alone. Few only agrees to back off because he technically got his way during their last encounter, viewing it as a return favor to us. He takes off and we head back to the Time Nest. Kranoa celebrates another successful mission, though she's still completely stumped regarding Few's ultimate endgame. She also takes a moment to remind Trunks that she hasn't entirely forgiven him for his past attempts to alter history with future Gohan, but she acknowledges that he's shown a massive amount of growth and restraint today. We wrap up on a much smaller celebration than the previous DLC. But it really leaves you wondering how we're supposed to stop Few moving forward. Obviously continuing to harvest immense power from these altered universes, and it feels like he's slowly escalating beyond a point where he can be easily managed. It also raises a massive question about the fate of the timelines. Back when Deborah was defeated, everyone he turned to stone was restored to life. It makes you wonder if these fractured rifts function in the exact same way, automatically snapping back to normal once Few is finally dealt with. Or if that hoarded energy is eventually going to explode into a completely new timeline altogether, perhaps setting the stage for a massive next installment. Now we are still pretty far out from that conclusion, and thankfully we have some incredible stories left to cover in the meantime. I absolutely cannot wait to dive into the future saga with all of you. I've been having a lot of fun with that set of DLC, so make sure you guys stick around so you don't miss out on any of those videos. As always, it's your local overanalyzer Artellings, and I hope you all have yourself a damn good one.
Kakarot.
Bardock! It's time to change the future! Together!
Huh?
unpredictable.
Yeah, but did you predict this? Coordinates set.
What?
Frieza!
Ah! Is that all?
Nope. Just a little for good measure.
Ah!
You're going down, Frieza.
Wait! I'll make you the highest-ranking commander of the Frieza Falls! We'll rule together!
This will change everything. You're dead!
You insignificant inferior!